So I'm doing the real estate thing, and I know that I never got an education on this. Nobody ever took the time to tell me what this could be done, or what could be done in real estate with knowing where you're going to be, knowing you have a consistent paycheck, and and the opportunity to use the VA is huge. And I'm 33 in 2 weeks, hoping to start building my real estate portfolio. Y'all have the opportunity to hit it from the ground right now. So that's enough about me. I don't really like talking about myself. Let me get this to share screen. Of course, everything seems to have moved on me. There we go. First things first, you got to kind of know where you're moving to and what you're going to be doing. So why is it being, there we go. Okay. Everybody seeing the map of Pensacola?
Yep, we got it.
All right, awesome. I don't want to mansplain this. I don't want to try and treat y'all like y'all don't know these things. I'm sure y'all are pretty well aware, but just to give the layout, orientation, first thing you do, right? So down here where my arrow is, that's NAS Pensacola. API's there. We're going to touch on the pipeline, but y'all could probably teach me more about the pipeline than I can y'all. So down here's the Pensacola base. You got the back gate around here, and then the main gate right here coming in through Warrington. Obviously, Pensacola is in the center here. Down here is Pensacola Beach. If you've heard, this bridge is down. Don't sweat it. It's supposed to be up before y'all even graduate. And then we're going to slide up here to the Milton area. That's Whiting Field. Hilo side goes there, and some other of the trainings that will take place. So if you get stuck here for the long haul, you're probably going to have some time in Milton. A lot of people, they'll buddy up. They'll get a place down here in Perdido Key. Sounds great. Is great. Don't get me wrong. But if you end up going up to Milton,
I don't have the thing on me. Just shoot me a text with whatever you are.
I'll mute you there, James. As you can see, Perdido Key up to Milton, it's a good drive. It's something that you got to take into account, consider. Pensacola, beautifully in the dead center. We live right around here in East Hill. The wife is stationed in Milton. She'll be moving down to Pensacola. We're in the middle, so she keeps her drive the same amount of time. That's the big thing that I need you to just try and think about when you're going through this, where you're going to live and everything, that commute time. Any questions about the layout? I mean, it's pretty simple. It's a map. This isn't rocket science, but any questions so far? All right, I'm gonna take that as a no. Appreciate y'all. And if y'all have got questions, just interrupt me. I don't care. From where we are in Pensacola, the commute to Milton is about 40 minutes. So take that into account. From this area right above the A all the way to Milton, 40 minutes. You can imagine what it's going to be. It's going to be close to an hour and a half if you stay out in the Perdido Key area. If we've got the NFOs on here, you're going to be in Pensacola the whole time. Not a bad gig. All right. And I'm going to change screens here. Okay, so let's talk about the real estate stuff. That's what y'all came here for. Again, I'm Jose Perez. The company I work for is Keller Williams, and I'm part of a team called the Hanson team. We're consistently top 1, top 2 in the Pensacola area. We're awesome. There we go. Annapolis to Pensacola. Thank y'all for coming. Like I said, we're going to touch on this. Y'all know it better than me. API is going to be in Pensacola, and then your primary is going to be either Whiting Field or Corpus Christi. Then you're going to get split up between there. If you go helo side, you're staying in the area for a good while. One thing that I would say too is be careful with getting the advice on like how long class times take. That changes literally weekly. They will up people that are expecting to be somewhere, and then they will down people and just make them wait and play the waiting game before you can get back into your next class. So that's one thing, but you can see you're going to go all over the place. Y'all know this already. Big question is why buy a house? My things are, it's the only investment with up to 100% leverage. With the VA, you can put 0 down and you own a home. It's the ability to invest in your future and build that generational wealth. Y'all might be young and not thinking about it, but I know I was investing then, so y'all are probably thinking the same way. Look, you got to plan for that future. I know if you're looking to do the 20 years, get that pension, it's nice, but you can always build for more. Why are you going to pay someone else's mortgage? When you rent, there's a landlord that owns that house, that has a mortgage on that house. You're paying their bills. And then, of course, you get to modify to make your own. Bancroft Hall, not much modification. But when you want to decorate, when you want to tear a wall down, when you want to paint something, when you want to bring a dog in, those are all issues that you might have with a landlord. You own it, you get to make those decisions. Saw this and I fell in love with it. A lot of people are going to think it's not an investment. You're just paying into a house. I did the math. I have the slides if you want to see them. I played with a $7,000 stock investment. An 11% rate of return. Guys, that's insane. That's what I've had for the last 12 years is about 11.5% rate of return. But remember, I'm a class of 10 graduate. I got my second class loan in 2008 when the stock market was at 6,000. Typical rates of return are going to be closer to 8. Gross profit, you're going to end up with $4,800 profit. The net profit, that bottom line here, after you take that money out, you've made about $3,800. And assuming you're paying rent of about $1,500 a month, you've paid $90,000 in those 5 years towards rent. On the other side of the slide here, $7,000 on a house down payment. Again, you don't even have to do a house down payment because all of y'all can have access to the VA. If you assume 3.8% year-to-year home value growth, which is the 100-year estimate, right now we're seeing growth in home value in the 8, 9, 10% range. Your gross profit is $58,000 because that mortgage you paid, or that instead of rent you paid mortgage, you're paying it towards yourself. You net profit, and I did the numbers taking into account that you're going to have to pay a realtor to sell it. There's no taxes because it's your primary residence. That's a $44,000 profit. Any questions so far? All right. Silence is compliance. So, little insider's tip for y'all. You have to pay to live somewhere no matter what. Pay down your own mortgage and make the profit yourself. So the first thing, the rest of this is going to go in order of the home buying experience. So we'll just go down the line as you will if and when you do choose to buy. So the first things first, you get a buyer's consultation. All you do is you're going to meet with me, you're going to meet with your realtor, and you're going to start talking through it. You're going to narrow down the search. You're going to see what's available in your price range. We all want to live in LeBron James's house down here in the right. We can't afford it. We don't have the rings like him. We don't have the jumps like him. So, and then it assists in identifying your needs versus your wants. Again, everybody wants that awesome infinity pool, everything that house has. Those are wants. What do you need? And then we always recommend a buyer brokerage agreement. All that says is you make a deal with me that I'm going to find you your house. If you find it, you're still going to cue me in on it. I help you throughout the whole process. It ensures that commitment. Real quick, and you'll see it at the end. That's just the link to our team website, specifically to my link. Anything and everything that's for sale in Pensacola is on our website, and it's a little bit better than Zillow. All right, so then you're looking at the loan process. Again, most of y'all are going to be looking at VAs, and these are just some companies. One thing I would suggest here is don't just go straight to the Rocket Mortgage and the Quicken Loans. They're decent, but they're big, and you just become a number to them. Patrick Waters at HomeFi. I mean, this guy, you mentioned a guy that he does a loan for, and he knows who you're talking about. Supreme Lending, we work with Jason. Same thing. You mentioned a name, and he knows who that person is. He remembers what house they went through. You get, like Patrick uses in his HomeFi, you get the human touch. Types of loans, conventional, FHA, and VA are the most common. Obviously, I think I always push towards a VA. You get the 0 down. It's guaranteed by the VA. There's no PMI is principal mortgage insurance. It's just extra money that you have to pay because they don't really trust you. The cons, good news, y'all are all veterans. So, and sometimes there's tougher appraisal requirements, but that's not very common. The other thing here, the reason I'd say go VA, look, you're gonna get into the house, and putting that down payment, if you're ready to drop 20% or something crazy, it'll drop your mortgage a little bit. But at the end of the day, that money could have been doing something else. It doesn't change it that much. So I always highly recommend the VA. All right, so how much do you need to save? I know I said 0 down, and that's the truth on the mortgage, but there are other costs that go into it. You got them listed right here. Inspection, WDO inspection, that's wood destroying organisms. So you're looking for wood rot, termites, things like that. For those of y'all that aren't from a humid part of the country, termites live here. We got to share it. We got to fight them off. You got a survey, just identifies the land that you're going to be taking ownership of. And then the appraisal, again, we'll talk a little bit more about that, and I'll wait till then. Yeah, 0 down. Closing costs. You got the taxes and escrow. You got title, insurance, escrow, lender's fees. Easy way to look at it, your closing costs are going to be about 3 to 4% of the purchase price. So $200,000 home, you're looking at about dropping about $8,000 on the closing day. What I mean by taxes escrow and insurance escrow, lenders will require that you pay those up front. So you've paid your month or your 15 months, sometimes a year, up front at the closing. Be smart with your money, guys. Keep your credit cards below 30% of credit limit. It's going to help with that credit score. And lenders, even with the VA, they're looking at the credit score to see how low you can get your interest rate. Right now, we are looking at ridiculous rates. I have people that are getting 2.25%, which is just insane. That is just giving you money. They're begging you to spend this money. 2.25. We bought a year and a half ago. We were at 3.375, and that was insane. Right now, guys, it's a great time to try and get in. Got a couple more in the waiting room. All right. All right, so what to consider? I call them the flashy and the not flashy. The flashy things, location. Oh yeah, we got a spot right on the beach, or we're right next to the brewery. Amenities. Everybody loves that beautiful kitchen or that master bath. Size. How many people are you gonna try and cram in there? You don't want to cram. Y'all been living in Bancroft Hall. Y'all don't want to cram people in too small of a spot. School zones. All right, probably not really y'all's concern right now, but it does go into resale value as well. And then community. You want to be with the type of people that you want to be with. You want to have HOAs that take care of lawns and keep things manicured and orderly, things like that that are important to you. Those are the things that everybody looks at those things. The ones you got to worry about, though, are on the other side of the screen, not flashy. Are you in a flood zone? That can add thousands of dollars to your payment every year. I'm in flood zone X, which is the minimum. We don't have to have flood insurance. If you get closer to the water or in lower lying areas, you might be paying up to $3,000 a year. So keep that in mind. Taxes. We're in the city limits. We pay a lot more taxes than if we were just outside of the city limits. I wrote in there homestead. If you become a Florida resident, side note, become a Florida resident, don't pay state income taxes. You can also homestead as long as it's your primary residence, and you can get close to like $700 or $800 off your taxes a year. HOAs, I kind of called them a good thing on one side. I'm the kind of person, I don't want somebody telling me what to do with my own house. So HOAs, it's something to look at. Sometimes they could be pretty pricey depending on where that community is and how much they're involved. The age of roof, guys, they are crazy about roofs here. If the roof is more than 15 years old, even at 15 years, it's probably going to need to be replaced. So you might be looking at a great house and then you realize that that's a $15,000 expense that you just added because you can't negotiate it or whatever. The other one's age of appliances, AC, water heater, those things break. It's a nightmare. Yeah, that's all I'll say about that. It's a nightmare to not have AC or to be taking cold showers. So, and they're expensive to replace as well. Needs versus wants. Pretty similar, but different things to look for. You might need that home office. Y'all are going to be studying a lot. It might be important to you to have that sanctuary to get away and be able to focus on what you got to focus on. Proximity to work. Again, if you're going to pick Perdido Key and then you get stuck out in Milton, you're going to be huffing it a long way. A garage. If y'all got hobbies that y'all haven't been able to do and y'all want to get in the garage, do some woodwork, do some car work, that's an important one. And it might be a need for you. School district of choice. Again, I don't think too many of y'all are going to have that. Wants, pool, waterfront, RV parking. Definitely want that James Bond villain lair with the elaborate booby traps. I know we've all dreamed about it. Come on. So knowing the difference between a need and a want, definitely going to make you better prepared to make a quick move on buying a home. So just keep that in mind. Build that thought into your head before you start looking at things that might be above your budget. All right, so now we're making the offer. We know we got approval for the loan. We're ready to do that. We've figured out kind of where we want to be and what we want it to have. We're going into making the offer. Obviously, offer price is big, but you also got to look at down payment, repair limits, the type of loans. Sometimes people don't like VA. Sometimes people are looking for VA loans as the seller, I should say. EMD, that's an earnest money deposit. It just saying that you are going to commit to this deal. Closing costs and then contingencies. If you have contingencies that you want, their Louis Vuitton bag that you saw in the showing, that's going to make it a little bit harder to get the offer. If you're willing to not take things and not ask for too much, like the washer and dryer, things like that, you're going to have a better offer. So yeah, insider's tip, strong EMD. Again, it just shows a commitment to this deal. If you're willing to do an as-is purchase and then flexible closing dates, they all help make the offer stronger. Any questions so far?
Do you usually offer, like what percent below the listing price do you usually offer on a house?
Whew. Yeah, right now, I have been over listing price almost every single time. Basically what's going on is the interest rates have been so low for so long that usually low interest rates, I should say, are a buyer's benefit. But now, because the interest rates have been so low so long, and right now we don't have any inventory down here. So when I just put in an offer today on a house, it's the first day that it's on the market. I'm the fourth offer that they've received. This has been on market for less than 4 days. So sellers know that. Right now, listing price is basically your starting point. Does that make sense? Any other questions?
I had a question about, so right now we can't travel and we have to have a house obviously before we get there. What do you recommend doing if we want to buy a house to not like get screwed or have somebody hide something from us because we can't actively go down and see the house? Like, are there any ways to keep ourselves protected from that? Somebody's saying some like is okay when it's not.
Yeah, work with me. Yeah, so perfect example. My wife and I, we bought our house before we even moved here. We relied on our agent. We trusted our agent. She came and did the viewings for a couple different properties. She took pictures. She gave us her real opinion. And if you don't work with me, whoever you work with, give them as much information as possible. Give them feedback if you're working with me and I show you 5 properties and you think the door is ugly on one, the yard is too small on the other one's too far, tell me everything and you're painting a picture with me. That it's not unheard of, especially in this world right now. Virtual tours. I will FaceTime you. I will set up a Zoom to walk through the house with you. I will give you my honest opinion of what I'm seeing. I will be there for all of your inspections. I will be in touch with you and your lender, everything all the way through. We can figure out how to do it. The distance closing, it's not uncommon, especially now. And you will just have everything notarized, signed, and taken care of. But yeah, I can definitely help you, and any agent should be able to help you from afar. Yes, there's some risk. I got you, Ryan. There is going to be a little bit of trust that goes into it, but we're going to do everything we can to make sure that you know what you're getting into and you're comfortable making that purchase. Anything else?
Sure, I've got a quick question. I'm thinking about buying a house, and what rules of thumb would you have for locations on trying to avoid, flood zones? Something that's really been worrying me is the potential of a hurricane that really screws some people over if they bought a home and their first time homeowner.
Yeah, so okay, locations. I mean, I can get to you on the side, but what I can do is I'll pull up the map at the end, and we'll talk about some more specifics on locations. Hurricane. To be totally honest with you, we're talking 150 mile wide, 200 mile wide beasts. So you're not running from that. The flooding is where you're going to be looking out the most, and that's a pretty easy search, and I can help you out with that. I don't like Zillow per se, because y'all are going to find a house, you're going to send it to me, it's off the market, and you're going to be like, no, it's right here on Zillow. It's gone. There are no rules for how long after the sale that you can take that property off. So it's a little bit frustrating there. Some of their stuff is a little bit more generic, but their school zone, their safety, their walkability, those types of facts will definitely help you kind of paint that picture for what you're looking for in whatever neighborhood you might be going towards. Does that answer the question? I feel like it's a
Yes,
tough
sir.
one in a broad area here.
Yes, sir. That definitely helps.
Okay. Yeah, and flood zones are definitely a big one. Just Google it real quick when you get a chance, flood zones, and they'll explain it. Flood zone X is what you want. They claim it as the 500-year storm would flood your house. Flood zone AE is the 100-year storm. Flood zone AA or whatever, I can't even remember them right now. They all paint a different picture, and those are going to affect your insurance rates and things like that, and definitely like losing your house. But that's why you get a good insurance company. So, any other questions?
Sir, how much do you budget for maintenance given that there's a lot of humidity, storms and stuff like that versus, if we're doing real estate in California where it's a lot more normal and easier to maintain a home?
Good question. So one thing that I always will push on people is, especially for their first year, you get the home warranty. And the home warranty, it's going to cover all the things that insurance really doesn't. Insurance doesn't care if your fridge goes bad. The home warranty will cover that. All of your other major appliances will get covered by that. I'm from New Orleans, then Annapolis, then the swamps of Jacksonville, North Carolina, Norfolk, and now here. I have lived my whole life with humidity, so I guess I really don't have a good comparison. Like you used the example of California, but now I'm thinking. I mean, you're gonna get condensation and moisture affecting some things, but that's really going to affect the external of the house. Most of the air conditions here also dehumidify, so that's going to protect everything inside the house. But yeah, on the outside, maybe a little bit extra paint. But also remember, humidity isn't new to this area, so houses have been built to withstand those things. Does that answer your question? Vaguely?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yes,
So I
sir.
got a question for you. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure, if you don't mind. Just quick, like, what's the advantage of buying a home in Pensacola, like, so early on in a career, as opposed to, like, waiting a little bit till we get somewhere for a little bit longer?
One, why do they have to affect each other? Okay. You can wait, and by all means, that's not a bad idea, but they don't have to affect one another. You can, once you show that you have renters in this property, it's not going to affect your debt ratio. And again, using the VA, you're going to be zero down. So you're really zero out of pocket. And then somebody's paying your mortgage plus a little extra down here. And then you move to Norfolk, Jacksonville, the lucky ones of you that go to San Diego. And you have the opportunity to do it again. So there isn't an advantage to buying here over waiting, other than if your goal is to build that portfolio of real estate properties, then you start as soon as you can. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Okay, and I've got an article that I'll push, and it explains a little bit more in depth how the cap on your use of your VA works. And you'll see that you can probably afford 2, maybe even 3 houses on your VA as they're being paid off, and they're just in your portfolio of properties that you're making a little bit of money off. And, then you get that nice payday in the end. The other thing that I would give Pensacola is we're growing. Navy Federal is building their campus. They've been building buildings there for 6 or 7 years now. They've brought in 6,000 or so jobs. So there is an influx of people coming into Pensacola, and it's just driving the prices up. So, going back to that original slide talking about the year-to-year growth of that home value, right now we're seeing elevated growth on home values, and I don't think it's really going to slow down anytime soon. So that's another thing to consider.
Sir, I got a question on property management. Can you walk us through a little bit? Most of us won't be in the Pensacola area for our whole, aviation career, maybe 6 months to a year and a half, 2 years. Inevitably, we're going to leave. So can you walk us through some of the costs associated with property management?
Sure. I mean, it's and they'll vary a little bit, but really they're taking 10% off the top and they're handling all of the day-to-day stuff. So they're making sure that the renters are paying, they're making sure that things are taken care of. You don't have to be calling a plumber when you're in Okinawa or in Hawaii. You're not calling a plumber to take care of your property. They're going to do that. They will send you the bill, but you know, those are the numbers. 10% of the rent goes to them, and then they're gonna just cover it for you, so that when you are distant, when you get deployed and you're out there doing your thing, you don't have to really worry about it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, and they handle advertising too. We've got a management company, property management company, underneath us as well. You know, they're putting the word out there. You've got 15 agents on my team alone that when somebody can't buy and they need to rent, we're sending them right to them to look in that area. The other advantage, guys, you're coming from a place that produces something like 300 students every year that will be moving down to Pensacola. Get in touch with, what are y'all, class of 21? Get in touch with 22. Get in touch with 23. Stay in touch with those guys and girls, and they're your next tenants. Like, just keep the cycle going, and they'll pass the word to their classmates and their friends. Hey, yeah, I'm moving out, but I've got a spot. So, you know, that'll help reduce your non-occupied time, your vacant time, and that'll keep you in the black. Anyone else got a question right now? All right. Okay, so offer acceptance. You put in a bid, they take it. What you have to do, you got to provide the documents for the loan. Pre-approval is like 3 clicks. Yeah, you're good, buddy. After that, you got to really provide them information, provide them the facts. Do that on time. And then you're going to review the inspections. Just like we talked about a little bit earlier, you know, you might not be present for your inspection. You got to look over that with a fine-tooth comb. I'm going to give you advice. I've got a list of vendors, from plumbers, AC guys, roofers, everything that I talk to when I get these things, and we get the estimates on what the inspections are. And then you're waiting for closing. Don't buy a car, and y'all can't change jobs, so don't worry about that. But don't go make a purchase that will affect your credit before it's actually pulled for the loan, because you might be looking at your credit now and it's awesome, and then it's not so good when you actually go buy the house and they put that credit score together. On the Hanson team side, on what we're going to do, we've got a transaction coordinator. She walks us through everything. She orders the inspections. She gets the surveys in. She gets the appraisals. She's coordinating with all parties involved, the title company. And we do it all, and we follow up. That's the name of the game after we get the offer accepted, is just making sure that you're doing what you got to do, and everybody else involved, there's a lot of parties involved, they're doing what they have to do as well, because you don't want to miss closing. So that's easy enough. Inspections, again, we run 2 main inspections. It's a general home inspection, and then the WDO. WDO is looking for that wood destroying organisms. They're looking for wood rot. They're looking for termite infestations, things that can really sweep the rug from underneath you. They're gonna that's gonna make that house be worth nothing. So you need to have a good, clear WDO. And then the general inspection, we're looking at, I mean, they're looking at everything. They're looking for water. They're looking for pests. They check water heaters, AC. They're checking absolutely everything in that house. Like I said, especially if you're not here, I'm going to be there. I know what to look for a little bit. I know what's going to cost a lot of money, and I'm looking for those things, and I'm asking them the questions too, and make sure that you're going to be good in that house. Appraisal. I know you're buying the house and you think you own that house, and in 99% of the aspects, you do own that house. But the appraisal is the bank's way of making sure that what they're giving you the money for is actually an investment that they can get behind. So they're going to just appraise it. They're going to get the price that they think it is worth. That's not what you're paying. That's not anything like that. It's just what they think it's worth. My house was actually appraised for about $15,000 more than what we paid for, and we paid over asking price. But you have to pass one. They need to know that they're getting a sound investment. A low appraisal sometimes can be your benefit. Sometimes it's going to hurt you. Basically, they said you put an offer on a $200,000 house and they think it's a $190,000 house. The two options there is you pay the 200 like you agreed to with the seller, and you get a house that's worth 190. Option two, a lot better. Seller says, all right, we'll take the 190. And you just got $10,000 knocked off your house. High, no sweat. That's just good on you. That means you've already got value in your house. Insurance. Yeah, so you've got a couple things on insurance here. One big thing, we brought up hurricanes, and I learned this. Florida mandates a wind and hail mitigation. Windstorm and hail mitigation is really what it's called. So I go through USAA, I get my insurance. It's like $100 a month. I'm like, gravy, this is awesome. And then they tell me I need this other thing, and that's like $200 a month. You need to be with the right insurance company that's going to take care of you. I'm in the process of redoing my insurance because I don't think it's right. I think we can cut it down. It's just something that you need. It protects your assets. Hurricanes are a thing. We're on the coast, so flooding is a thing. You need to be taken care of. Make sure that you don't lose everything because of a catastrophe. So that's all I'll say on that. Any questions, actually? All right. Title company. Not really much worry here. Title is just you do own the property. They're going to check that there isn't some great granddaughter twice removed, I don't know what, that has claim to that property. If that appeared, you know, your title insurance will protect you, but you don't want to lose your house because of a bad title. Yeah. When they're asking for questions, when they need information, get it to them as quickly as possible. All that does is ensure that we're going to be on time. Nothing's going to happen to the deal, and you're going to get to move into that house when you're ready to move into it. And then it's closing day, guys. You get to shake hands. We get a cool picture together, and we get you into that house. All right, that's pretty much my brief. I can go back to the map if y'all are still curious about that. But at this time, that's my information, my email, my phone number. Shoot me a text, shoot me an email, ask me any questions. If we want to start looking into the houses, let's get looking at some houses. If you just have questions, if you don't know what the hell I just talked about for the last 40 minutes, let me know. And I can answer those questions for you, make sure you feel comfortable and you think that this is something that you want to be doing. I don't want any of y'all to buy a house and feel bad about it and not think that you've made a smart choice. So I want y'all to be educated and informed on this process and what we can do for you. So by all means, email me, shoot me a text, give me a call, whatever. Do y'all have any questions?
Could you address the complications for when you're buying a house with multiple people?
I knew that was going to come up. Hold up, I got people are flashing at. I don't know what that is. Multiple buyers. I would have to get back to you. Essentially what you're doing is you're going into a business and you're gonna, depending on how you go into it, typically you're gonna go even shares, And then the complications are the even shares. Somebody wants out, y'all have to buy them out, or they're stuck. You're going to get a portion of their share. So if it's three of y'all, you know, everybody owns a third of that house. So when it goes to sell, everybody's going to get a third of the profit. Now the lending side, that's going to be a little bit trickier, and I would definitely recommend talking to a lender about that. As I can give you my best guess, I don't have much experience with that, but yeah, I'm going to pawn that off on a lender. I'm sorry that I don't have more, but that's what I got.
No worries, thanks, sir.
Yeah. Anyone else? Come on, no other questions? I hope y'all saved y'all's some of y'all's career starter loan.
Jose, I think earlier you mentioned that you want to start doing some like investing on the side, not just like buying for personal properties.
Yeah.
What sort of investing like do you plan on doing, and like are you at all affiliated with like Bigger Pockets? Like, are you active on the forums or anything like that?
I'm not. That's something that I'm about to start. Right now, for the investment side, I'm actually starting to get very curious about commercial as the avenue that I go, just because typically they're less of a hassle, and there's certain types of leases that you can sign with them that takes a lot of the risk out that you can't avoid if you're renting, if you're doing houses. Don't get me wrong, I'm also looking at the housing market for investment opportunities because one, everybody always needs a house. Things can go wrong. COVID's a great example. You invested in a restaurant right now, you're probably hurting as the landlord on that. Whereas everybody still needs houses, and there's, you know, you just got to look for the right numbers and things like that. I'm not affiliated with or do much with Bigger Pockets, but it's on my to-do list. I've got a stack of 10 books and trying to catch up to them.
Thanks.
That's what. Anyone else?
Sir, what's your opinion on people speculating that we're in a housing bubble and the market's going to crash?
It's always a possibility, but you know, you look at what we've done, and while we've gone back and allowed the banks to extend probably too far, there are still a lot of securities put in place, if you will, that are going to prevent massive bubbles. And those types of things, you know, you've got to hope a little bit that those securities and those protections are going to help, and I think they will. I'm not making this stuff up. This is what I'm remembering from an old Economist article from a couple years ago talking about the same thing. The other thing is the lending practices are different. The securities on the secondary market are different. And while this is affecting our economy, the COVID, I mean, and the whole coronavirus fund, it's absolutely affecting our economy, but it's not as crazy as when all of those adjustable mortgages came up at the same time. And I mean, that's what really caused the bubble. I feel much more confident that we're not going to see the downturn that we saw, what, 10, 12 years ago, 13 years ago almost. Does that answer it decently?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
One more thing on that. I know I know they say the whole housing market crashed. If you look at the numbers and you go back into that time, the bubble was affected because people were overextending. People that should have been in $200,000 houses were in $450,000 houses, $500,000 houses. And that was the part of the market that really crashed. The part where people were in over their heads on their mortgages because they got these adjustable rates where they were like, oh, my payment's only this. It's only $1,500 a month and I get this huge house. Like, yeah, let's do it. And then they never realized, they weren't aware that, oh shit, year 6 comes and it's doubled and they can't afford it. That the market in that 250 and below range really was not affected drastically. That bubble exploding wasn't really hitting it in the lower price range. So sorry, I got a cat trying to claw its way into this room. Anyone else got any questions?
Sure, I don't have any questions, but we had a couple people email me and ask about sending out a recording. If you could send this to me after we're done.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm putting up my information one more time, but I will send the recording to you. I gotta learn how to do that. But it's been recording this whole time. And again, I'm gonna do another one of these when y'all reform in January. Jerry, if we can get together and just figure out a time, and I'll shoot you another invite, and we'll do another one of these. I will have some answers to these questions that y'all caught me, and we'll figure it out. But other than that, hey guys, I appreciate it. Keep your head down. 6 more months and you're out.
Hey Jose, I got another question for you quick if you don't mind staying on the line. You ever work with anybody like trying to do bird deals?
No, I have not.
Are you familiar with like the term?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Do you know of like, I don't know, do you have any advice on like I don't know, like how attainable doing something like that is in like the Pensacola area? Like, is that something people do, or is the market not really there for that?
No, I mean, there are people that are doing it. I just haven't had the chance to work with them yet. It's out there. I think it's, I'm trying to think of specifically reasons why that would be effective here. Colin, what's your alpha there? I'll shoot you an email with some information.
Okay, sounds good. 210162.
210162.
Yeah.
All right, I'll shoot you an email with some information about this about the area.
Sounds good. I'd appreciate that.
Cool. Anyone else got any questions?
Sir, going back to the original map that you were showing, are there certain areas that people are avoiding buying in, or areas that people would not want to rent a home in?
I wouldn't say you're not going to have renters or you're not going to have people wanting to go. I mean, some places are just going to be circumstance. They have to go to those areas or whatnot, you know? Now, regarding investments, like, so if we're coming down here, this is East Hill. This area is, I mean, crazy. People are buying up little dumps and building monstrosities out here. But over here near the hospital, can you see my cursor? Okay. Yeah, over here near the hospital, this area is called North Hill, and it's got a lot of the same feel as East Hill, but it's lagging behind. And then even down here, you've got right here, this is a baseball stadium, Wahoo Park, and this whole area is booming right now. People are building it up and building on other properties. People's properties are or their property values are going up drastically in those areas. So those are areas that you could definitely look into. And again, talking about it close to Pensacola, and if you end up Helos, not far from Milton. This whole area, so this is the 10. So when you go north of 10, 9 Mile Road, that's like the strip where like all of your amenities are. You're gonna have you're gonna have a lot of restaurants and stuff. This is like the suburban area that's building up, and out in this area is the Navy Federal campus. So it's getting a lot more attention from developers. New neighborhoods are popping up in this area, and Pensacola is just expanding north. So a lot of those areas are seeing property values go up because of the added money, added spending, and movement. Does that answer the question a little bit?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to answer because Pensacola is really, it feels like everywhere prices are going up. People are wanting to move in. Yeah, I mean, even here, like around the West Pensacola area, maybe that and Warrington would be places I'd maybe avoid. Yeah, I'd probably. I mean, shoot, I say that, and we almost bought a house near the Warrington area. So there's options everywhere, man. It's an older city, so you've got that mix of wealth and disparity going on in a lot of these areas. But shoot me a text if you've got houses that you're looking at. Hit me up with my email or my text, and or by text, and I'll look into it for you. Anyone else? I got a couple people straggling on here. All right. Well, if we don't have any more questions, again, I appreciate y'all coming on. I hope it was helpful. And if y'all want to buy, give me a call.
Thank you, sir.
All righty. Take care, guys.